I hate the summer. My skin breaks out. There's cat hair everywhere, and I have to turn off the air conditioner in this room, and that blows. I wanted to do a video. I have to talk about this because this was a thing. So I'm on Facebook, and more Facebook is the source of things that are pissing me off that I'm going to talk about. Like, just like sources of annoyance. Facebook, sources of annoyance. Some of them warrant discussion. Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook. So I'm on Facebook, refresh the page, and this kind of ad comes up, kind of an alert announcement. I don't know. It says together. It's by Facebook for Facebook. It says together we can fight false news. We're taking action by removing fake accounts and working with fact checkers. And you can learn the truth. You can learn what to trust with our tips to spot fake news. I saw this and I thought everyone is going to be talking about this. I clicked on, there's like a little link, it says more here. I click on this link. It's worth noting, after I clicked on this link, the page, I got to the page, read it for a bit, and went, oh goodness. Like, oh my, this is going to be interesting. And then it kind of disappeared and I couldn't get back to it. Like, I couldn't back to the page. And I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. Did they revise it or take it down that fast? Were there that many complaints? What happened there? But I was able to find the page again. And it's tips to spot false news. I don't know, but I suspect that Facebook that Mark Zuckerberg got some shit because there was this, I don't know, kind of this word going around that maybe Trump won the election because of fake news specifically being spread on Facebook. I think that's nonsense, but the term, we have to unpack this. All right, so let's go through it. Fake news, where did the term come from? The term came from, actually, from CNN, which was saying, hey, don't look at alternatives to us. That's fake news. And then, but that kind of annoyed people. I saw a number of really good videos. Some of them were kind of amateurish. Some of them were excellent, where people went down, just took, okay, CNN is talking about fake news. Let's talk about fake news, and just went through and deconstructed how CNN lies and did a great job. God, I should find one and like post a link to it. I'm not going to go through that now. Like, smarter people than me have done so much, much better, but did a very good job of kind of calling CNN out. Like, CNN wants to bitch about fake news. Let's go see how credible CNN is. And they point out some of the inconsistencies in their reporting, how they will report things and then deliberately misconstrue them, how they will be willfully ignorant about events. You're the news. You're the fucking news. Why are you deliberately not paying attention to facts or not report? I mean, like, I'm being vague. For example, there was a really good send-up on CNN. They had this interviewer who was saying before the election that Trump was a racist and that people who voted for him were racist, and that's it. That's really all he had to say about it. And then he does this interview with a bunch of people from my home state of Ohio, and he's talking to them, and he seemed visibly shocked. Like, oh, these people have motivations and concerns that I was unaware of. And that's fine. That's what you do reporting for. Except he didn't do a report on this until like 3 months after Trump was elected. The motivations of one of the two major standing parties is something that should be more newsworthy before the election, not months afterwards. For example, I mean, whether you agree with Trump supporters or disagree with them, being a news outlet and being completely ignorant of what turned out to be a quarter of the electorate, being unaware of what a quarter of the electorate was thinking what they were concerned with, why they were voting, and not even investigating it. Not investigating it until after the election. And then throw around the accusation that other guys are fake news. Fuck you. That should piss everyone off, even if you hate Trump. So when CNN started throwing around the fake news thing, a lot of people were kind of calling them out on it. Like, a lot of people were like, CNN, we were kind of ambivalent about you and your fake news. But when you're engaging in blatant hypocrisy, we are less inclined to ignore it. And so here's the thing. So then Donald Trump, during his campaign, started calling CNN fake news. A lot more people were responsive to that than would have been if CNN hadn't started the fake news thing. Is that 100% certain? No. That's kind of my observation. I could be wrong, and I could be exaggerating or misperceiving the impact or the way that shook down. But that is very much my perception. Like, people thought it was hilarious that Donald Trump was calling CNN fake news, who months earlier had been calling out other people for fake news. So that's kind of the buildup. That's where kind of the fake news started with. Now Facebook is like, oh, we're going to crack down on this fake news. And I'm like, how are you going to do that? I mean, how are you going to do that? And they talk about how they want to find all of these sources of misinformation and so on. But what they're describing initially is we remove fake accounts and disrupt economic incentives for people that share misinformation. We also use signals like feedback from our community to identify stories that may be false. That was kind of the first red flag with me, because it's like, I mean, SJWs are kind of famous for trying to get people fired who they don't like, trying to get sites taken down that they don't like or don't want to argue with, or vilifying people, calling people Nazis who are not Nazis, or even right-wing, or even conservative, or even right of moderate. What it amounts to, I mean, for all that, the beginning of it, it's like, it sounds like we're taking shit down. We're going to find these guys, we're going to take them out. And then you go down later, here, let me read this. And it's like, we're going to, like, stuff that we think is not accurate, we're going to make it so it shows up less. We're going to, like, make it so it's not as, so it doesn't show up as often. Stuff that we don't like. And it's like, this is not good either. Because, I mean, there's just no way for that. And at the same time, I want to be sympathetic to Facebook. I mean, if I'm going to call them out on stuff I think is shitty, at the same time, I should be cognizant of some way that they can do right. If I'm going to say this is them doing wrong, there should be some way for them to do right. The problem is they've put themselves in this position. If they don't tell anyone about this, they don't give me this alert, and they just start de-emphasizing through mysterious formulae, de-emphasizing stuff that they deem is fake news, is misinformation, then it just mysteriously, wow, some stories are hard to find on Facebook or don't show up very often, and some seem to show up a lot. Is this a conspiracy? What the fuck is going on? The mysterious algorithms where, like YouTube, we blame math for censorship. And we're not wrong to do so. Anyway, but on the flip side, if they do tell people about it, they're going to be very suspicious about it, and they should be. It's like, well, what do you mean? If you've deemed my post to be misinformation, to be fake news, and I don't think it is, how do I fight it? How am I aware of it? I get the impression that you'll never be aware of it. You'll never know. You'll be de-emphasized and never know it. How do you fight that? How do you argue against it? How do you counter that argument if you're never told in the first place? What is the counter argument? And when they say fake news, what do they mean exactly? What if I'm making a generalization? Is that fake? What if I'm relying on older information? Does that become fake when new information comes up? If that's the case, a lot of full-blown CNN stories become fake news. CNN just posted a story about how the president called all immigrants animals. The president did not say all immigrants were animals. He did not say illegal immigrants are animals. He was specifically talking about a specific gang that has been crossing the border and causing a lot of trouble on both sides. Now, whether that's appropriate to call criminals, potential criminals, animals, to dehumanize people, even potential murderers, rapists, I think a case could be made that that's wrong, because we have this justice system where people are innocent till proven guilty. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Probably not, but you get what I'm saying. Regardless of how you feel about that, saying he said this when that's not what he said or meant, that is not the spirit or the letter of what he said. Do I sick the dogs on CNN? I get the impression that if I sick these forces on conspiracy theorist Bob over here, and I sick the same forces on CNN, one of them is going to be de-emphasized and the other is definitely not. Being famous and big is just going to be power. And that's the whole point of social media, of alternative news, is that it encourages you to fact check. It's like, hey, they're saying this, I'm saying they're wrong. Don't believe me or don't, but hear my argument and look over here, look for yourself. If you de-emphasize those voices are de-emphasized, they're quieted. But this is all kind of moot. Like I said, it's so vague about how do you judge what is or what isn't fake news. These aren't hard limits. They seem very arbitrary. For that matter, as far as de-emphasizing shit, Facebook was like that before. Facebook was awful about that. If you have a site or a group and you make 1,000 posts, everyone who's subscribed to it is not going to see your 1,000 posts. By some sort of algorithm, they'll see the posts that Facebook believes are relevant to your interests, not the things you subscribe to, rendering it useless for a lot of purposes. Facebook exists because everyone's there. It's a tool at this point. If I want to throw a party or get in touch with someone I haven't met in a while, dear God, I just sent a friend request to my cousins on my father's side of the family, and I have nothing to do with that side of the family. I mean, how kind of cool is that? Like, family members and friends you haven't seen, not friends from when I was in grade school or reached out to recently, and actually talked to someone I have not seen since like the 4th or 5th grade. Cool. This is awesome. That's what Facebook does well. As a source of news, it's fucking terrible. It is absolutely fucking terrible. I keep telling people, like, just go to minds.com or, God, just use Twitter, which isn't great, but better than this. Or, God, YouTube. Or, one of the other ones, Maker Support, Gab, whatever. But Facebook is awful for this. For reaching an audience, Facebook is great because everyone's here. All the people are here, but Facebook is not going to connect you. It's going to put this fuzzy wall in between you and your audience, and that's going to suck. Like, I am pretty sure I am subscribed to the same people on Facebook that I am on Minds and Maker Support and Twitter. And I never see them. I never see their stuff on Facebook. So, on one hand, the post Facebook did is kind of, it's not a terrible post. I mean, as far as this, tips to spot false news, it puts it into the unenviable position of trying to be a gatekeeper. And okay, we have to talk about this a little bit now, don't we? When I say a okay, All right, so when I say a gatekeeper, when it comes to the 21st century, here we are in the second decade of the 21st century, near the end of the second decade of the 21st century. If you are involved in information, and we're in the information age, we're in the golden era of information, or maybe that's to come, I don't know, it's a thing, that you are one of two things. You're either a gatekeeper or you're an aggregator, in my mind. An aggregator is just someone who acquires a bunch of information and gives you what you asked for. Minds.com is a perfect example. I want to see all the posts by these things. Show me these posts, and here those posts are filtered. Twitter, by and large, is pretty good about that too. Twitter makes suggestions, but Twitter's fine. A gatekeeper, God, is more like old media, where it's like, these are facts, these aren't. We don't like these, so we're not going to report on them. If you ask for them, the only way to get information that the gatekeeper, like that, like something the gatekeeper might not agree with, well, you can't. You just have to find a gatekeeper who likes the same stuff you do. You have to find Fox News for conservative news. You have to go on MSNBC for liberal news, and so on and so forth. You have to find the people with the same flavor of Kool-Aid running through their veins. It's like the 21st century is being brutal to gatekeepers. They used to be everywhere. People who could basically said what goes through and what doesn't. People who give me what I want. Like, I want all the posts from, for example, Chris Ray Gun or Red Letter Media or Blair White or Sargon of Akkad or a bunch of libertarians, or and so on and so forth. Like, I want to see what these people have to say. Show me their posts. If you're not going to do that, you're not an aggregator. You're not accumulating the thing and giving me the thing. You're accumulating the thing and giving me the parts of it you think I should have, which is kind of a weird blend of the two, and that's what Facebook is trying to do. And I think that's why Facebook is, everyone's been predicting Facebook is going to fail. I think it will. I mean, Yahoo.com was once a giant, an insurmountable giant that would never fall, and who the hell goes to Yahoo.com on these days? So Facebook, I think, is in the same place. It's in this place where it's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable until it gets replaced. Facebook is useful because everyone's there. When everyone else is somewhere else, it'll be MySpace, it'll be Friendster, it'll be Orkut, I mean, whatever the hell. I mean, I keep getting posts from Google Plus every so often. It's like, oh, Google Plus, you still think you're relevant. That's so cute. That's adorable. Adorables. Like, I get like one post a month from them. It's like, oh, someone posted something on Google Plus. Awesome, awesome. Cute. What can Facebook do to stop fake news? I don't think anything. I don't think anything at all. Either they do nothing, which potentially their site could become a mess, like a Reddit board or something like that, where it just becomes filled with nonsense, or they can quietly do stuff, in which case people are going to accuse them of scheming, or they could tell people about the thing they're going to do, in which case they're going to accuse them of scheming, but just using, kind of subversive language. I mean, the entire fake news, I mean, like I said, fake news, how do you define fake? What do you mean? Do you mean they're saying inaccurate? Lots of stuff is inaccurate. Mainstream media stuff is very inaccurate. Like I said, I was just using an example. We had most mainstream outlets, particularly CNN and the New York Times, use clearly inaccurate data on purpose for a political agenda. And that's a whole nother story. I don't see how Facebook can win. I don't see how it can do something right here. It's going to get fucked no matter what, and it's going to get yelled at, and people are going to hate it, but then who cares? We already hate it. I hate it. God damn it. It's like I make videos on either pop culture stuff I really like or something I saw on Facebook what I thought was stupid and it pissed me off, and here we go again. It's just a source of annoyance now. But yeah, that's me. This is too long already. I'm out.